Following the release of their previous 2022 album, Luxury Disease, One Ok Rock got to work making their next album. In an interview in October of 2023, the band was asked what the sound of their next album would be like. And in response, Takahiro Moriuchi, the main singer of One Ok Rock, promised that it would be a rock and roll album, stating that they grew tired of their pop sound from their 2019 album, Eye of the Storm, further saying that playing those songs live got boring for them, even saying that there was nothing exciting about those songs. While I do think Taka was being a bit harsh towards his own work, I remember hearing this at the time and being quite excited for the future. I had been listening to Luxury Disease for quite some time at that point, and I was really enjoying it. I wasn't really the biggest fan of their album, Eye of the Storm, but over time, I have really turned around on it, and I respect it quite a lot. But even still, hearing that this next album was gonna have a rock focus was really exciting to hear. We already had Make It Out Alive released as a single for the mobile game Monster Hunter Now back in August of 2023, and while that song was a scrapped song from 2017's Ambitions, it was redone and telling as a sign of their sound going forward. Eventually, the first single released on July 12, 2024, titled Delusional, followed by Dystopia, Matter, and finally, Puppets Can't Control You. I do find it interesting that the only thing they said about this album is, "We are tired of pop and are focusing on a hard rock," just for half of the singles to be extremely pop focused compared to the rest of the album. But it was with these songs that it was realized the album would be primarily touching on political subjects, the state of the world, and some classic One Ok Rock vibes. With these singles came the reveal of the art style this album would be taking, hand-drawn by Emil Olund, who seems to have been a relatively small artist beforehand. So seeing him get this level of success is fantastic to see. He already had been doing their 2024 Premonition Tour merchandise, and he proceeded to contribute with the rest of the art on the album. On December 5th, 2024, the album art and name was officially revealed, that being Detox. There we go. And all the way stuff over here. After the previously mentioned singles released over the coming weeks, the album officially released on February 21st, 2025. This was done in two different versions, the Japanese version and the international version. However, there is quite minimal differences between the two, with only Dystopia and Puppets Can't Control You having noticeable differences. All other songs are consistent between both versions. Additionally, while Luxury Disease's international release of When They Turn the Lights On had a short outro sung in Japanese, Detox's international release contains 3 songs that have extended sections only sung in Japanese. I love seeing this, since it's reinforcing the fact that this is a Japanese band, and they are absolutely willing to sing their language for the world to hear. So whether they're performing in Japan, America, or Singapore, I'll see you there. The crowd will be excited to sing along at the top of their lungs, regardless of language barriers. The only difference in the cover arts is that the Detox text in the international version is blue, and the Japanese version is white. And both actually fit really well in my opinion. This is definitely a subtle difference, unlike some of their other regional differences, but done to good effect here. The art itself, depicting a massive crowd of people with unreadable faces standing in darkness, some of them holding signs of past One Ok Rock logos, like Ambitions, Luxury Disease, and the current one for Detox. Taking center stage is a dark blue colored flag, with other blue shades and white supporting it. While the flag is a bit hard to make out since it's depicted dripping down, we also have the music video for Curiosity, giving us a much better look at the flag. Now, to actually analyze this cover art and what it's representing, we start with the massive crowd. This crowd is actually a picture of the real-life audience that showed up at One Ok Rock's Premonition Tour at Kaohsiung, Taiwan, back in September of 2024, photographed by Ryota. This concert was the perfect choice for this, as it had begun to rain while performing, so everyone had to put on ponchos, leading to many of the audience members on the cover art to be hooded, which adds to the slightly ominous factor of the art. I find this really cool, as it is directly showing One Ok Rock fans standing defiantly against forces out of their control. That may sound silly to say so early on, but no, there is genuinely something about this. The crowd on this art is meant to signify people around the world being connected and standing strong. Holding up flags of what they love leads us into the flag itself. I think the flag is designed very well for the meaning I think it has. There's 2 sides to it, a lighter color and a darker color, being separated by a white line, but that white color is one that is still complementing the overall design, and taking the same color is a white star in the brighter half of the flag. Towering over on the darker half are the powerful, wealthy figureheads who impose their ideologies on the world, whether we like it or not. It's a bold, strong force that does not waver. The white line division is the literal division between humanities, that being how a line exists between ordinary people and political figures. Ordinary people are sick and tired of being expected to believe what is being said to them, forced upon them, knowing that the guidelines and amount shared between them was never even. The white line thins out in the middle, potentially signifying the battle between us and them that is sometimes made better through negotiations and deals, but the thicker outer lines shows we really are just pretending this is how we want it to be. The brighter blue, the bottom half,
is the ordinary people like you and me.
We are brighter and stronger together.
Yet we are still at the bottom, fighting for survival in chaos. We find the beauty in the chaos, the euphoria in the dystopia, and even when this flag, this color, is surrounded by darkness, we don't give up in that moment and keep pushing.
The brighter half of this flag is depicted dripping down, melting, if you will.
This bleeding blue color paints the audience, the us. We wear our color because it's what makes us connected and strong.
A star is adorned too, as it represents hope for a better, brighter future. While perhaps one of cosmic proportions,
it is one free of the demons keeping us from paradise. We bleed, but we are strong, in search of one thing, and that is to be free. We can see these themes elaborated upon further inside of the booklet, where we essentially get a mini comic. It depicts a world where everything was once peaceful until a quote-unquote god decides otherwise. As I quote, "Peace could only exist because there was chaos elsewhere." So a harmful bacteria was spread all over the world. This way, every part of the world was now infected and balanced, as it says. Humanity resorted to underground virtual worlds to find solace, but the same thing happened. People would fight and fight to regain ownership of their digital territories. After a time, neither world was safe, with either uninhabitable or never-ending conflict. That was until a powerful, wealthy figurehead decided to create an AI god, a product that could potentially solve all problems in both worlds, but of course, at a cost. The AI god began removing all the bacteria in the world, showing signs of improvement and rehabilitation for humanity. This is shown with the pink-colored substance ripping away the bacteria, but larger problems persist. This product that was capable of solving all problems pushed the divide between the wealthy and poor to a breaking point. My favorite quote from this is, "As people relied more and more on the AI god to provide all the answers, they lost the ability to think for themselves." I like this line because this is genuinely a thing going on right now in our world. We then see how Warnock Rock sees God's original thought of peace can only exist because there is chaos elsewhere, and that there is importance in not having a perfect solution to everything. The power of Warnock Rock, music, the rebellion against these wealthy figureheads are depicted as these blue, angry, emotional substances. We see these emotions to show that we as humans are not just one-dimensional and have something worth fighting for when it's at risk of being taken away. Compare this to the pink substance that is facelessly and corporately doing one thing only, without a personality or shred of humanity, just following orders by the man upstairs. We see the blue substance rise up once Warnock Rock and the people also rise up, showing a physical power surge that is finally being felt.
Their song echoed throughout the world, illustrating how a message tied with melodic rhythm can speak to souls. Now back on the surface, people from around the world are gathered and rallying for these messages, with a mission to detox a world full of poisoned thoughts. The final page being the audience in darkness, no flag or anything, just the words, "Be free," is emotional to me and it ties the messaging together. Another detail to look over would be the disc art, which I admire for matching up with the art behind it. It depicts the blue substance from earlier in the booklet, the substance of us, dancing around the crowd of people, which I want to mention something about now. This substance, this depiction of us, is what makes up the flag, at least that bottom half that I mentioned earlier. It's the physical embodiment that colors in that portion, that represents us and our fight. The overflow of we artists flooding from the bottom half can lead it to drip and spill down from the excess of humanity seeping from it. And the Warnock Rock logo on the disc follows this, with the dripping substance that represents us seeping down, in a way, painting them in too. Saved for last is the detox name itself. Detox is defined as ridding the body of toxic or unhealthy substances, a detoxification, if you will. There's been speculation that it refers to the band itself, moving away from a pop sound into rock and roll, a detox from the sound they've somewhat had since 2019. I'd argue that this isn't fully true since this album does still have those pop elements sprinkled in, as well as sounds from all over their discography, but to an extent, I can still see it sort of being the case. What the title is 99% more likely to be referring to is a look at the current state of the world. There are so many horrible, toxic, unhealthy things happening, whether it's today, the past, the future, anytime. It's a title that proposes a detox, flush out all the bad to get a refresh, and arrive at a better tomorrow. I think the title works really well as the ending capstone after reading through the booklet, understanding the meaning of the album, understanding its cover art, essentially saying that what is needed and what you are about to hear is a detox from whatever hell you may be experiencing from people in control over you. It is your detox, your euphoria, your innocence, your therapy, your getaway, your detox. That was a lot to take in, but it is not only important to the album, but it is relevant. The shock I felt when the comic says we lose the ability to think for ourselves the more we use AI, that's a real, genuine concern as of right now, and we can't rely on it to solve everything around us. peace can only exist because there is chaos elsewhere, is a very strong message too. No matter how good you have it, know that someone somewhere else is living in chaos, fighting to live. But regardless of that, we can still stand and fight for freedom together. I find it very respectable that One Ok Rock wanted to try and cover something like this as a center point of their new album. And while it's not like they haven't covered politics and the state of the world in their albums before, far from it, this one is showing it off a lot more, which again, I really do respect.
Now it's time to look to the music itself, to see how these messages and classic One Ok Rock energy are translated into music. While English is my main language of understanding, I do generally listen to the Japanese version, as it's mostly considered the quote-unquote main version of these songs. But for this video, we will be analyzing the international version due to my inability to actually understand Japanese. With that being said, my name is Ian, and this is One Ok Rock's Detox. Nasty starts out strong with a slowed, relaxed version of the chorus and a guitar that sounds like it's revving up, along with Taka adding some gravel to his voice on the lyrics and the energy manic.
Soon after, a trap beat starts, with the drums slowly yet boldly sneaking in,
building more and more suspense,
until it all crashes into a solo once the title is said,
with heavy guitars and brooding drums taking off.
The guitar riff here is excellent, and it is begging to be headbanged to. And I cannot ignore the hilarious and perfect usage of the infamous moan voice sample. I love this because it fits the tone of the song, and it's also this beautiful, unique part of the chorus. And it's also part of a big pause that happens a lot throughout this song.
Moving into the first verse, I like how the instrumental follows the intro, with the light trap beats before fully leaning into the harsh drums. Taka's inflection on "Goddamn You a Savage" is awesome as he lets the savage part ring out with some vibrato. Getting to the pre-chorus, we get that guitar from earlier back and revving up stronger and stronger before some synthesizers come in to top off the build-up. Then crashing back into the chorus, however this time with the lyrics. Once again, this song just has an excellent feel to it. Very up and down, a bouncy feeling to it. In the second verse, once again, I'm a big fan of Taka's inflection on the lyrics, like "Ikare o koete umareru shoru." The guitar solo following this is utter brilliance, shredding away while the grungy guitars continue. The bridge with the clapping is also a great build-up before we end with the final chorus. The meaning of this song is one of rebellion, but in a way that's full of sassy attitude. The opening lyrics of "Wanna scream like a banshee, in the street and the energy manic," depicting a daring mindset of unapologetically breaking out of the shell that society has formed. Bunch of wolves and we're repping sheep's fashion, creatively expressing how even though someone may appear soft and kind on the outside, which is the sheep's clothing line, on the inside they're a wild pack of wolves that are just wearing that facade to fit in. Lyrics like "Look at this damage, goddamn you a savage, how much more do you want to lose?" show off the attitude by essentially taunting the people above, calling them savages and asking them what do they have left after everything has been said and done. We're playing dirty, we're in control, what's the hurry? Further taunting and shifting power dynamics in this cycle. The English translation of the Japanese lyrics read as "Impulses born from anger, now we light the signal," showing how these feelings of tiredness have been a long time coming, and lighting the signal to alert others who are also tired of feeling stepped on, and lets them know that it's time to release these manic, nasty feelings. Combining this with the party-like atmosphere of this song works really well together. I find this song to be really catchy in its repetition, as while it is a rare instance of a song having 4 choruses, I feel it works for the song, which is about these small impulses of a power struggle growing in size, and letting it out in this way makes perfect sense to me, especially when the chorus is as catchy as it is. Nasty is overall an incredibly hype song to me, which is surprisingly heavy and brooding for a first song, but it makes a bold proclamation, which sets the stage well for what's to come. Dystopia starts with some echoey guitars, almost as ambience leading into the first verse. It lets you know that this is a bit more of a relaxed pop rock song compared to Nasty. The drums hit hard on cue, combined with Taka's great vocal bursts on pronunciations of words like apocalyptic. My Colors Bleed, I'm Turning Blue is sung in a way that slowly invites you into the pre-chorus, as it's combined with this little electronic noise that ushers you forwards. It's also a small thing, but on the yell of "Nothing to Lose" is lively and has some inflections on it that let it stand out. Now into the chorus, I find it very interesting how they decided to do this. Instead of the high energy instruments happening at the same time as something like a vocal beginning, it happens in the middle of a long high note, happening right at the middle of the Euphoria line, and it's another heavy guitar tone that rings out. They follow through on this when Dystopia is said too, happening in the middle of a long vocal note. The chorus carries through, and I'm again a big fan of the drum work here, especially when it shifts from the no running from the sadness part to the euphoria part. The drums are loud and full of power. Moving along to the second chorus, we get an impressive yell on the running from the sadness line from earlier, elevating into the bridge section, and it is a heavenly one as it is combined with choir-like singing. The yells continue into the repeating lyrics of Dystopia, and the choir still ringing out. We even get a brief moment of ambience with the faint guitar riff from the beginning of the songs, before slowly being invited back in by soothing falsetto vocals from Taka. The lyric, "It's only up," letting all the instruments slowly come back in, getting louder and louder. The following lyric of "I'm still holding tight," sounding a bit emotional, like his voice was breaking for a brief moment, before we re-enter the chorus stronger than ever. The song beautifully ends with Dystopia being yelled out one last time into an empty void with no other sounds to hear. This song stands for finding the good in the bad, and like was said before, the euphoria in the dystopia. Apocalyptic tendencies is followed by blame it on a whisper for the shame that's in our system. This can be interpreted as blaming all of the problems caused by us humans or people in charge on anything but ourselves. Like an outside force or whisper in the wind because we're secretly ashamed of the apocalypse that we're standing on because we did it. Pain in all our yesterdays and fears that keep us wide awake paints a dark picture of the horrors that we live in, ones that reside in our memories no matter how far away yesterday may be from today. The memory sticks with you, keeping you wide awake. My Colors Bleed, I'm Turning Blue is a lyric I love because of the strong imagery you can imagine, and how this is artistically shown in the album artwork with the bleeding blue color. We got no place to go and nothing to lose is important as well, as while we are in this situation, what do we have to lose? We have each other, and that's why we must find the euphoria in the dystopia. Tropical Therapy begins with a lone, sad guitar riff that sounds small, yet hopeful at the same time. Taka starts singing along, with a much more emotional tone of voice this time around, with the guitar still trudging along, both matching each other's tone beautifully. On cue with "I'm sick of rolling with the punches, I need to get away," a keyboard that sounds like a xylophone clicks in, which I love because it's such a bright, happy instrument to play alongside a quite depressing line, making it sound like a small light in a room of darkness. Now into the chorus, on the lyric, "I need to get away." For as repetitive as it is done fantastically here. Taka progressively makes his voice croakier and raspier on each repeat of get, until proudly singing out "getaway." A small detail I love is that once this first chorus is over, the second chorus starts so quickly, just like that. And it's a small burst of energy, since now the drums are here, and it all collides together even though we're still so low-key. This second verse is so sweet and calm. I love how, yes, nothing crazy is going on, but it's so soothing to listen to, and it still has that melancholic rhythm from the first verse, but with just a little extra spark. When It's Time for Me to Go has some excellent vocal riffing that is paired with some emotional singing, which is placed well here as the second chorus is about to begin, prepping us for a new take on the first chorus. This one now starts bold and strong, the loud drums now replacing the quiet twinkling keyboard xylophone from earlier. Comparing Taka's voice to the first chorus is so fun as well, as we get to see a stark difference of his vocals when it's meant to be a quiet portion compared to this more bombastic take.
But even with all of this energy, the song is still bathing in its melancholic nature. The guitars being these long, powerful strums that really let the song breathe. All of this, combined with Taka's pleading vocals, really gets me to feel something with this song.
The bridge of the song is mostly instrumental, again adding to the ambience and melancholicness of this song. The guitars are playing at a sound that literally feels electric, along with them somehow sounding like piano keys at some point.
It's this sharp but soft ringing tone. It kind of feels like dancing. It's so elegant, but it's also so tight and fluid.
The third chorus is introduced with the drums rising higher and higher, speeding up until it explodes into the peak of the song. This chorus now brings back the xylophone keyboard and pairs it with the drumming, creating this hybrid of the soft, elegant first chorus with the heart-pumping second one. And now for the part of the song that always gives me goosebumps. In this chorus, when the lyrics, "the first thing on my mind," is shouted out, it has a glorious backing track with it, elevating it even higher.
These are done with so much power, it sounds like he's about to cry, introspectively screaming out. And then of course, the standout part of the song, the final part of the chorus where "Set Me Free" is belted out. Almost to the point that he's screaming, but it's so well controlled. It sounds painful, it sounds tortured, it sounds beautiful, and it sounds human.
The song ends with Taka slowly singing a portion of the chorus, but heavily stripped back, sounding almost like a faint whisper, and as a hopeful one that slowly fades away like a breeze. Instrumental ambience leads the song away, and it's a perfect placement and length for a song like this. Melancholic, soothing, whispering. The meaning of this song goes even deeper than how it sounds. This is a song about getting away from everything negative in the world and trying to find your home. Escape towards something associated with relaxation and tranquility, like a tropical landscape. Of course, it's a dream, a hope that is hard to reach, but it's one that you dream of every time you're beaten down. Another Day Here in the System explains how the world just feels like an automated system, never ending to the point it just feels like another day. My Soul is on a Plane, depicting a setting of where someone's true place of belonging is on a plane, as it transports you to a different place, a different chance to be you in a setting that better suits you. But alas, since it is only your soul there, your real location still resides in the system. Keeping with the plane theme, I need to lighten all this baggage cause life is heavyweight. Creatively shows how heavy everything can be, and the emotional baggage weighing someone down needs to be lifted so that they can loosen up, feel human again. I'm sick of rolling with the punches, I need to get away is a relatable line since we can all relate to just faking how we truly feel.
We always have demons keeping us down, and it hurts to deal with them in our day-to-day. We roll with the punches and keep pushing through, but all we can really hope for is a getaway, to never face these terrors again.
I wanna go fly to paradise tonight puts forth the inhuman imagination we've all had at one point. To be able to fly, reach far beyond what we know on our limited ground, instead achieving flight towards our dreams of a paradise, alongside this plane that keeps us on track to our future destination. The first thing on my mind always hits me hard. I never knew why for a bit, but I think it's the sincere earnestness of this line. This imagination of beauty is always number one in thought. It's so pleasant. Get out of this mess I made is both emotional and integral to this story.
It makes it seem that the problems, hardship, the struggle of quote-unquote home is caused by you. You created these problems and it's getting too much, it's getting too painful, and you need to escape. At times, we want to run from our problems, either caused by us or the higher-ups. But again, since we're all humans, we all do similar things, and so in the end, we kind of have ourselves to blame for a lot of our own hell.
Set me free, asking, pleading for a way out. To who? It's not for sure, but it's a cry for help, and a beautiful one at that. My spirit is guiding me to a place where demons can't find me. Goes deeper into this. On a spiritual level, a cleanse is necessary. Rid of the demons, whether physical or psychological. Say goodbye to all my pain when it's time for me to go. Gets a bit existential, and I like seeing this from the perspective of reaching death's door. Once that destination is reached, everything negative is left behind.
There's a reason the flood of beautiful memories are said to occur right when a person dies. And this piece of the song right here is telling me that the paradise that you dream of can be reached in the shattered good memories that you still have, but it's just lost in the echo of the unfortunate messes that you've been a part of.
The last lyric being Getaway, once again reinstating the message of stepping away from a dark world you found yourself in, and finding solace in a new place that can provide you with your desires.
This song means a lot to me. It's emotionally relatable, especially as someone who lives primarily in tropical climates. It's nice to have a song really focus on dark troubles weighing you down while having this hopeful, beautiful tone attached to it.
Delusional, the lead single for the album. I'm gonna say something right now. This song is the catalyst for Detox. Those who don't know, The Catalyst is the lead single of Linkin Park's album 1,000 Suns. It explicitly and heavily goes over topics that the rest of the album revolves around, and is essentially the most important song of that album.
And so,
here we are. It's heavy, it's dark, it gives a sense of dread, fear with the ominous opening, mixing an electronic keyboard with Tomoya's pounding drums, and the heaviest guitars from Toru and Ryota you'll ever hear. Taka joins in full of heart, the lyric "and no one will listen to you" has an initial shock with what sort of sounds like some vocal fry, mixed in with a sudden gasp, adding additional intensity to this already grim sounding song. Throughout this first verse, the electronic keyboard is steadily keeping its flow, with the drums and guitars fading in and out, almost like a jump scare, keeping you on your toes. Until it's time for the chorus, where every instrument crashes the party with the booming lyrics, "Why does it feel like they don't feel anything?" Nothing compares to being blessed with the choir-like power that is Taka's voice when "feel" is spoken, feeling like a powerful echo sweeping over in one of his most impressive vocal performances ever. And then on Anything, it's broken up with the syllables of said word, but again, it's powerful and it really feels like a huge moment. I Pray There's a Future Behind Those Walls is intense. I Pray There's a Future is quicker paced, but Behind Those Walls explodes with power, being drawn out, loud, agonizingly prayerful, especially Walls. Words cannot describe how impressively this is done to me. But maybe I'm delusional is then said sounding like a rally of people coming together to utter this statement, but it's distorted and toned down, perhaps a sign of being silenced for where blame is placed. Pretend This Bastard Democracy flows with the melody so well, bouncing in and out with backing vocals making this particular lyric shine. Is just how we want it and we're not exhausted. Is quick compared to the rest of the chorus, but it remains powerful as his voice grows more and more restless and raspy. But Maybe We're Delusional is done with the coolest vocal distortion effects and is the ending piece to wrap up the chorus. With the suspense of the instrumental building, it then crashes down hard. First with a small tease, and then it feels like a goddamn semi-truck runs you over with the blast of power that you feel from it. When everything's supposed to happen for a reason, onwards in the second verse almost sounds like a rap, with the same cool distortion effects teasing the vocals, along with the instruments jumping in and out just like the first verse. We know the amount that we have shared was never even, is sneakily more silenced and distorted compared to the other lyrics around it, almost like a belief that is secretly shared quietly so, due to the circumstances surrounding it. The lyric "I know" has a cool sting effect, like a knife slicing through the air, starting the bridge which cuts the guitars and introduces more ambient tension electronics. "You Gotta Let Go" and "That's When They Take Hold" are pronounced in a way where they rhyme in a unique way. "Everything's Fair in Love and War" perfectly transitioning back into the chorus. I love how this piece has some riffing on the war part, adding some flair and energy. We re-enter the chorus for the final time, but the beginning of it only has vocals but to a heightened degree, and a large audience clapping the drum beat, giving it this massive stadium vibe, like the whole world is singing to this. And Tomoya's drum breakdown leading us back into the normal tempo of the chorus is fantastic, ramping everything back up to 11. The song ends by repeating the lyric, "Maybe we're delusional," as the song mysteriously yet beautifully fades out. Taking a dive into the meaning of this song, we already have a big message to uncover. They'll conquer us if we divide, directly having two sides, us and them, emphasizing the power difference as conquering is even a possibility. Sticking together is necessary, because if we divide ourselves, we've essentially conquered ourselves, and no one will listen to you. Once again painting a dark, lonely place of being oppressed and not taken account for. The people above have made up their minds whether you like it or not. We gotta stand up and draw a line is important, as it depicts a rebellion of oppressed people who have been ignored for far too long, deciding that enough is enough, it's time to firmly say enough is enough. It's time to fall back or shoot. Initially worried me due to the potential for this lyric to be misunderstood, but no, this lyric is again pushing the envelope on this issue. You can fall back, give up on this fight against poisoned minds, or shoot for the stars, shoot your shot, get your thoughts across so then humanity can be restored to this wasteland. Why does it feel like they don't feel anything? This is a standout lyric of the song, and it interestingly puts into question the humanity of those in charge. Are they even aware about the damage they're doing to the world? Do they care about others? Basic human questions that need to be asked because it's gotten to a point where it needs to be questioned. I pray there's a future behind those walls. Speaks of a hope that the barricade those higher-ups hide behind are capable of even doing their jobs in making a good future, or even a possibility of such. Or are we doomed to a forever ruined world? But maybe I'm delusional. Is a bit of a sarcastic, rhetorical statement. Maybe I'm the one in the wrong after all this. Am I the only one feeling this way? Pretend this bastard democracy is just how we want it and we're not exhausted. Is interesting placement after the previous lyric, as it's referring to a we after the singularity. Coming together, perhaps. The unhappiness with democracy, the will and the power of the people. Being upset that things aren't better while in this system that's supposed to be for the people, and what's happening is anything but. Every talking head expects you to believe them, but we don't need them. We are the kingdom. Our lyrics that are said with such anger, I like seeing it, as these people above us who feel like nothing but automated speaking machines, and the realization and understanding that we're much more than just a singular broken voice. We as a people can be much stronger. We don't deserve to be talked down to in this way. We know the amount that we have shared was never even. Smartly is at a lower and more distorted volume, which works with the meaning of it, being silenced for having the realization. Why do our benefits seem so skewed? Why are we in such a worse position than what the people above are saying is one of the greatest times we've ever had? In order to be free, you gotta let go, but know that once you do, that's when they take hold. Smartly is saying that those who give in to the system, the low position they found themselves in, those who don't have that will left in them are even easier to keep hold of. The song ending by repeating, "Maybe we're delusional," further pushes that thought of, do we have to keep putting up with this broken system? This is a complicated song to analyze. It's a strong message to understand, but again, difficult to get a full grasp on. I love how heavy the instrumentals and vocals are, and the story is equally matched in tone, I feel. Gotta say, I love the name of this song. Obviously, delusional is the name, but having the all part be spelled like that further connects it to this feeling of unity and all of us taking a stand. Starting off with a Spanish-sounding acoustic guitar and a haunting choir in the back, Party's Over immediately lets you know that something different is coming. Not to mention Taka's phenomenal falsetto going insane here, building up a lot of tension. Until we finally start the song with a counting startup, drum cymbals teasing us in, before magic happens. Taka singing such a lengthy portion in Japanese, the guitar ripping up a storm, the drums teasing in and out, before the craziest breakdown happens. Just listen to this! Everything is happening all at once, and it's so epic, so fast, but not too much all at the same time. Taka does some beautiful inflections on the Japanese lyric, utareya, and it gives this portion such a powerful yet delicate feel. The anger in his voice on the repeated lyrics of "Get You Out" again are so full of energy, continuing this magnificent build. Ato niwa hikanai mai nimo ikinai tatazumu shika nai nosa has so much raw energy within it. You can hear his raspiness, you can hear his effort, just so much going on.
The best thing about this all is that they're embracing switching between Japanese and English on the fly, which is nothing new for One Ok Rock, but to this extent, in the international version, this is very new. But it's a decision that I love. Let the world know that you are a Japanese band, let them hear your roots and know all around the world who you are.
Like a shark in the water when I'm bleeding leads into some O's that I can't describe in any other way than being awesome to listen to. Some industrial sounding electronics end this pre-chorus, a bit of a hazy feeling to it. This chorus initially brings back the acoustic guitar, and the lyric, "I can't replace," once again has some fantastic falsetto on it. "Say It to My Face" is almost a whisper as it's such a high note, and it drives the song into overdrive. The drums and guitars begin shredding away with one of their best guitar riffs, and Taka shouting out, "Karma's at the door, get out of my house, the party's over," feels so daring, loud, and full of resentment. The song kicks back into the second verse, still full of speed and energy, with Taka killing it with even more Japanese sung vocals.
This verse gets extended a bit by the "Don't Play With Matches" portion, which is the closest we've heard so far to Taka screaming on this album. And in this setting, it's very perfect because it's a very dark, moody, aggressive, and just amazing sounding scream.
"There's Nowhere Left to Hide" has some great breathiness to it, adding some desperation to this lyric. After the second chorus, we get a fantastic guitar solo, beautifully shredding away, wailing away with the ever so heavy drumming. After a brief pause, I love how the chorus comes back on the lyric, "I can't replace," playfully bringing it back one last time, ending the song. This song is a shorter one, but it still packs a ton of lyrical value that relates to the theme. The first lyrics, which are in Japanese, read roughly as "Kasa mo sazazu ni tazazumu kimi, ama ni utare samokana ni." Translates roughly to, "You stand there without an umbrella, getting soaked in the rain, it must be cold." Picturing someone alone, cold, dark, standing in a slightly ominous setting. Followed by this is, "Get you out of my head, get you out of my bed, get you out of my life."
It's a fun use of repetition that gives it that fast-paced feel, and it's coming from a lot of anger and resentment. And it's someone that used to be a very important person to you, with a very deep connection, but now it needs to be erased.
Forgive my poor Japanese once again, but "Ato niwa hikanai mai nimo ikinai tatazumu shika nai nosa" roughly translates to, "Can't go backwards, can't go forwards, I can only stay here." Again, a fun use of repetition, and I find it an interesting lyric of needing to stay complacent and static after a clearly toxic person has been causing lots of anguish. The one solution and stance this person is taking is to be in a safe, current place, with no clear goal in any direction, just immediate safety. "Watching you go crazy like a shark in the water when I'm bleeding"
is a wild lyric because it's saying that this toxic person is able to smell you out when you're feeling low or vulnerable or hurting. And it makes them go into this crazed mindset knowing that you're in a weakened state.
Into the chorus, "Giving second chances when we're dancing with the snakes" turns this story just a bit. While clearly still about a toxic person who has been a fake for a long time, the implication of the word "we" to me means that this does not have to be about one single toxic, deceitful person. It's about the untrustworthy people and situations we find ourselves in, whether it's people bringing us down from a psychological perspective, or the sneaky higher-ups above that this album has gone over before. "Say it to my face," pushing it more, aggressively asking for some clarity. "Stop hiding. Karma's at the door, get out of my house, the party's over."
Is such a cool lyric because it means that all of the bad things that this person has done have finally caught up to them, and now that they're out of their safe place, which was your home, that they had parasited their way inside of in the first place, party's over, it's time for the world to get its payback on that person.
Later in the song, the lyric of "Don't play with matches, you're covered in gas" is another one of my favorites. It smartly says, don't mess around with someone you clearly can't handle, as it'll burn you alive due to the dangerous skin that you've now found yourself in. If I'm in the shadows, who's watching your back? I believe is a way of saying, now that I'm hiding away in the shadows, who do you have alongside you? I'm under attack, you're under attack, there's nowhere left to hide. Describes how both sides are hurting, fearing, but in different ways. One has been abused, tortured, and mistreated by the other, while that other person is now dealing with the karma for the things they've done, catching up to them after all that's happened. And I feel there's nowhere left to hide has to do with the toxic one, as they have nothing left now that they're out of the other's life. They have no shelter, no one's life to destroy, and who knows what will happen now that they're the vulnerable one. This is such a fun song, both lyrically and instrumentally. There's so much fantastic writing going on, so much anger, sadness, and energy. I really do think this has a double meaning too, as it can be about a single toxic person that's been treacherously taking over your life, as well as the current world we live in. The choices of those in a higher power position than us are deciding that we need to be more and more vulnerable and hurt as they watch and laugh.
I feel like that's what this album is going for, connecting all these pieces together while still sharing its own unique stories throughout. This is definitely one of my favorites off of this album though, just a ton of fun.
Puppets Can't Control You starts with Taka immediately singing loudly after some ambient intro noise. Picking Pieces is magnificent, belting out in such a harsh way,
And that honestly goes for the rest of this intro verse.
it feels like an instrumental moment of silence, all for Taka to sing as well as he possibly can.
Then all hell breaks loose, with the heaviest guitar riff so far exploding, sounding like a magnificent opening to this beast of a song. And Tomoya's drums are also joining in, smashing down as hard as possible.
Once Taka starts singing in the chorus with the lyrics, "Damned if I do," it's loud and angry once again. And I'm personally loving the extreme sides of his vocal range here. On the word bane in this lyric, the bane of my existence, I love how Taka's voice gets higher pitched, almost sounding like a wail in this portion. I love how in the "damn kid you gotta try" portion, the drums stop their rhythm to instead act as an ominous yet continuous approach, holding back for a moment, until hearing the lyric, "You'll never be happy again."
I'm telling you, there's a reason that this part right here is always used in their Detox tour posts. And that's because it sounds amazing.
If Delusional had that moment or two of feeling extremely heavy,
This takes that to a whole other level.
it sounds heavy, it feels heavy. That sudden stop of everything with a brief electronic interlude into a loud, bombastic explosion of chaos, followed by the electric squeals of the guitars, just brilliant. This second verse has the instrumentals held back, as Taka uses a more breathy, pleading voice, alongside some distorted backing vocals. Once the lyric, "If the TV stations tell their lies on cable," the instrumentals slowly kick back in, and Taka's voice on the "lies on cable" part is a small but memorable standout to me. Next is "Then We're So Blind," again is a favorite of mine. The "so" part being such a small yet angry portion, again, little things but big impact. Once we head back into the chorus, the way the drums lead us back in, getting progressively faster and faster, intensely so since it feels like you can hear it far in the distance, but it catches up so quickly while listening to it. It's almost creepy with how fast it catches up in this ominous way, and I love that feeling. This second chorus actually gets cut off for the bridge, as once again, everything gets cut off as Taka's vocals remain. And I enjoy how this section has effective backing vocals at play, but it's able to change its style right into the next lyric, like from "I can't keep running" and "searching for an answer." "There's no happy ever after when it's over" ends with Taka impressively holding that last word for an extended amount of time, and it works great with this insane guitar breakdown. once again showing a heavy, intense side, a very bouncy yet deep feeling when I hear this part. Once the chorus comes back, we get a brief hold on the instruments for the last time until syncing up with a later part of the song than usual, which is a fun method to keep the listener on their toes. The song ends with a repeat of the intense heavy opening of the song, capping off the song in a flashy, memorable way. For having such a dark, heavy tone to the song, I feel the lyrics also match this by matching that energy. Beat me, break me down, but I'm still standing refers to the resilience of those who still stick around after all the hopelessness around them. Picking pieces off the ground again
is a fun way of saying someone is recovering themselves. They're trying to heal that broken part of themselves that may be shattered everywhere, but they're still trying to make the effort to get everything back together.
If one day I fall, just hope I stick the landing, not at the gates screaming to let me in. This is pretty nuts when you analyze it. Basically, if I happen to fall into a life or death situation, I hope I can make it out alive so that I don't end up at heaven's door begging for them to let me enter. I enjoy the hopelessness felt in the lyric, damned if I do, it's way too late to fix it, I'll be damned if I don't, the bane of my existence. No matter what is done, trying to fix the broken system or doing nothing staying hopeless, it feels like it'll end up the same in the end. But then, another voice chimes in for empowerment. They said, damn kid, you gotta try. Even if you never win, you can't pretend you'll never be happy again. This being said from a they person, to me means that this is the people, the ones also feeling like they need to pick up their broken pieces. Saying that moping around, doing nothing about the current situations we found ourselves in, won't do anything. And at least trying to fix things will be worth it in the end. Happiness is not as hard to achieve as you think. Moving into the second verse, we start with, clip his wings, he don't deserve the halo, I'm losing faith in everyone again. Saying how it's time to stop showering the he person with all this superior, almost angelic love, especially when we've seen such decideful, unreasonable decisions at play, and when that person, or even the people in power, are starting to be seen as though they aren't capable or deserving of their position, faith in the everyday person starts to get lost in that mix too. If the TV stations sell their lies on cable, then we're so blind that we'll be tuning in.
Is a favorite of mine as it comes right after the previous lyric. We're losing faith in people, and then because of that, we turn to our digital safe spaces.
Which is just like what was described in the CD booklet, except in this scenario, this digital space is run by a lot of those same people in power, or they're people who keep additionally spreading the lies of the people in power to a widespread degree, showing how blind we can be when it feels like there is no safe place we can't be reached. The bridge gives us the notable lyric, holding on to nothing till it turns into something.
The feeling of hope has been so far diminished, but even in this, holding out hope that something can change is important.
Rereading every chapter, there's no happy ever after when it's over. I personally perceive this lyric in a unique way. When it brings up chapter, I imagine it's referring to history. How were similar problems solved in the past? What did they do differently? And perhaps coming to the conclusion that there isn't a happy ever after, since it's never really over. This is quite the heavy-handed song, again, both instrumentally and lyrically, matching the tone of a heavy, bashful instrumentation with lyrics about lost hope, fighting to be happy again. It's powerful. I enjoy this song a lot because even with all that, this is a very empowering song.
It feels like be happy in opposition to what the song is about, since it still sneaks in tones of people being able to think for themselves, and the heaviness of everything is what keeps you moving forward.
The title is interesting right off the bat, since it's an explanation of how puppets are the ones being controlled by someone larger than them, with much more power. Those puppets who are made to command, make orders, they can't use your strings, as they themselves are bound by their own. Find your own path, break free of those trying to manipulate you. Tiny Pieces starts with a somber yet memorable guitar riff,
which repeats throughout most of, if not the whole song. For most of this first verse,
no other instruments play, and Taka's vocals really get to shine here, especially on lyrics like, it's not the first time that you left, it's the first time you didn't come back, changing up his vocal style in little ways throughout.
It's not the first time that you left, it's the first time you didn't come back.
The chorus has some great vocal performances from Taka as well, most notably on Every Time I Do It to Myself, Never Seem to Learn, Now I'm Crying for Help.
I really like how on the word crying, it's spoken or sung in a tone that someone would be using when they're crying, or at least a similar one.
Every time I do it to myself, never seem to learn, I'm crying for help.
Right after this chorus ends, the drums kick in. But of course, for this type of song, they're slow and calm, but still audible and empowering.
Yeah, you broke me into tiny pieces.
In the second verse, we hear some great raspiness in the vocals. Like in the lyric, "Had the same fight 20 times in a night, I regret that." And adding in those drums make it hit just that bit harder.
Had the same fight 20 times in a night, I regret that.
The second chorus really makes the song click for me. Now that all the drums and backing vocals are joining in, it makes this already catchy song even better.
'Cause I'm broken, ain't nobody gonna fix me.
This bridge has some unique choir-like singing, which is a very nostalgic sound to me for some reason. Like, I swear I hear it a lot in musical choices from the 2000s type of music.
Tiny pieces.
That's how I spend my days, it's all I think about. Has an awesome vibrato, making it feel even more heart-wrenching, more real.
So I spend my days, it's all I think about.
This more somber song also has great lyrics in store. Likely having to do with a breakup, the song starts with staring at your lipstick on the wine glass by the sofa.
Some imagery to show the physical memory of something that will now be left behind. The question is, do you wipe the stain or let it linger?
It's not the first time that you left, it's the first time you didn't come back, depicting this relationship in a depressing light. This is not a solid relationship. Fights have happened before and things got messy, but it took one too far to push it over the edge. And having these issues fix themselves isn't working for the first time. And I'm choking on the pictures and the memories.
Showing how painful the world that you build with somebody close to you can become once they leave. It gives this really lonely, claustrophobic feeling.
Every time I do it to myself, never seem to learn, now I'm crying for help, is a lyric that spells itself out. But I do want to talk about it because I really enjoy this line and how it's a self-blame, but calling out for a helping hand. Again, not much to say, but it's a favorite of mine.
Overall, this is a great song about broken love that is a fresh, painful wound.
Someone close to heart who has a lot of memories involved is now gone, and living in that place the memories came from is brutal, as the song puts it. It's a nightmare, and it feels like your body is shattering.
This song is a bit more basic than the others, but I do still think it has a place alongside the others. Again, it is clearly about a breakup, but it could easily be applied to any of the themes of the album about betrayal and humanity.
This can be us. You've been the greatest part of my life.
This Can't Be Us is hard. Some lore is that this song is directly about Taka's grandmother, as back in the 2000s, Taka ran away from home due to disagreements with his parents, and lived with his grandmother. This obviously shaped a lot of his life moving forward, and happening in the teenage years is difficult to handle. This song is dedicated to his grandmother, who is not in the best of health at the moment. And I can relate to this situation, as I'm sure many of you can as well. I've heard that this song was almost cut from the album, due to it being quite different than the rest. But I think adding it was both incredibly important and necessary. We will delve into this and more soon, but let's get started with the sound of this song. A sad, slow piano starts off, setting the mood and tone. Taka sings, but this time it's mournful, sorrowful, upset, and yet still beautiful.
I hear your voice just like a song.
When we get to the chorus and the title, This Can't Be Us, is said, his voice nearly cracks on the can't part.
This can be us. I don't know how to say goodbye.
The first chorus has a slow violin joining in, giving some weight, as well as Taka singing his heart and soul into this song, letting us hear a hoarse side of his voice.
This can be us. Can we turn back the time?
Once we get to the second verse, the drums kick in, but these sound different than the usual drums in the other songs. They're more subdued, calm, even compared to Tiny Pieces, and I think this choice was brilliant, because I don't think this song would fit with those kind of drums.
You've been my rock for way too long.
Again, Taka's voice is so soothing and raspy, but it's also mournful, really hitting you deep when you hear it.
You said my heart is always with you when you're gone.
The second chorus now has some guitars joining in, but not for energy, but for further emotional depth, which I love the choice of.
This can be us. You've been the greatest part of my life.
We then get an instrumental solo, first starting off with just the violins building tension, until a guitar beautifully shreds away. But again, not for energy, but almost sounding like a salute of honor. This goes out to somebody truly special and important. For the final chorus, more violins join in, giving a slightly more grand feel to this climax.
This can be us. I don't know how to say goodbye.
The lyrics repeat a second time, but this second one has much more emotional vocals from Taka, like with "You've been the greatest part of my life," having some flair at the end.
You've been the greatest part of my life.
The tense vocals get to a point it sounds like he's about to break, really making it feel real, like he's really speaking from the heart.
I think I'm going out of my mind.
This last part of the song might just be my favorite part of the entire album. You can physically hear the tears that Taka is choking back on, how difficult it is for him to say these lyrics, and how desperate it feels when a loved one starts to fade. It's difficult, yet also beautiful in this song.
If you don't wake up, I hope I said enough. I won't forget you.
Lyrically, this song is also an emotional masterpiece. Starting with, "I hear your voice just like a song, and your melody, it tells me something's wrong." A simile, comparing someone to a song, and saying that although it is always a song of importance, something is out of tune, and not in a way that sounds grating or unpleasant, but something different, something sadder that is worth caring immensely over. They tell me that it won't be long, but in my head, it feels like you've already gone. I believe is referring to the supposed pain that this person is going through, and the people close by telling you that the pain won't last long, and that things will get better. But a feeling inside tells you that it may already be too late, and that those chances are gone. Heading into the chorus, which contains the title, "This Can't Be Us, I Don't Know How to Say Goodbye." This Can't Be Us, as a title, is an expression of disbelief that after all this time, all the love and care that's been shared, that now is the time to walk away. Surely, this can't be. Not to me, not to us. "You've been the greatest part of my life" is a painful lyric that mournfully explains that everything I've gone through, all the success, all the happy moments involving others, none of that is as great a memory as time spent with you. My life would be impossibly incomplete without you. Can we turn back the time? Essentially begging to go back. I wish we could go back to when we were both younger, so then we could re-experience those moments, and maybe now that I know more, I can make those memories even better. "I pray you're waking up, you gave more than enough, I won't forget your love," are the most painful yet. Praying that something can awake you from the sickness you found yourself in. And knowing that what I'm saying right now may not be fully comprehended by you is heart-wrenching, and I can only hope that you know that you've always gone above and beyond for me, and that effort will not be forgotten. Going into the second verse, "You've been my rock for way too long, and I'm sorry that I've been a rolling stone," contains some unique imagery, as it describes this person has been such a core, comforting, and strong foundation to be with, but the mention of it being for way too long perhaps implies that because this person was a foundation for so long, the pain attached with losing that piece is immense, and being a rolling stone adds more to this while keeping the rock theme, as a stone that rolls can keep going and going, sustaining its momentum and traveling great distances, but that distance can get so appealing that you start spending too much time away from that foundational rock, and wanting to turn back the time is a desperate thought on the mind because of it. "You showed me how to build a home, you said my heart is always with you when you're gone," as it's one that gave guidance on how to do it by oneself. As a home is a place of comfort and safety, and that was always given with that person. It seemed silly back then with how often the words, "when I'm gone," were said in relation to important advice and memories, but now that that day is hauntingly approaching faster and faster, it's something to reminisce on and regret not paying enough attention to. "Wish you could open up your eyes." Similarly to the lyric in the chorus, the want to see the life and energy rejuvenated is all that can be asked for, even if just for a moment more. At the very end, we get the lyrics, "And if you don't wake up, I hope I said enough, I won't forget your love," is heart-wrenchingly tearful, which is tenfolded with Taka's broken vocals on this part. If this is really it and there isn't a way to bring you back, I wish I was a good memory, something good enough to remember, because I wish so much that I could have been a much better person around somebody who was always so good to me. Regardless of that though, I will never forget what was. Every foundational step that you provided for me at any cost, you always did it for me. This is a song of deep internal gratitude towards someone so close to heart, about someone who would always do everything for you, cared for you, and loved you. This feels different than the typical breakup goodbye song, since grandmothers are so closely rooted in families and important in so many aspects. Now that the prospect of them truly getting older is becoming more and more real, it hurts so much more. I want to go back. I miss when I was younger. I miss when you were younger. It's the type of nostalgia that hurts so much because it was so far back to the point you couldn't have acted more mature. You were so young that you couldn't have known any better and weren't thinking about tomorrow. But tomorrow is arriving fast and I'm not ready. Speaking from my life now, I wish I could have been better. I wish I could have done a million things differently, but I think back to then and now and you still love me so much regardless. And even now when your memory is fading, you still fiercely love me and my brothers so much, and you want to spend as much time as possible with us. We didn't realize why at first, but now that we do, it hurts, and we want to spend as much time with you as possible in the time that we still have, because you really have been the greatest part of our lives. Matter starts off with some beautiful electronic noises. It sounds heavenly, it sounds natural, with some twinkling stardust-like noises flashing too. Once the song starts, I always forget how loud Tomoya's drums are for this song. But it's a choice I welcome, as it brings a sudden burst of energy to the song, immediately upon starting. On the lyric "Battles to be Won," we again hear some great vocal skills from Taka, as well as the electronic intro noises evolving, with the subdued guitars prepping themselves. Once we get into the pre-chorus, we lose the guitars and the drums speed up, driving up anticipation, and twinkling noises bringing in some flair. About to hit the chorus, the electronics rise up in a way that resembles what you'd hear in a movie when a supernova happens, which is perfect for the accompanying lyrics. And then the chorus allows everything to jump in, with the loud drums returning, the guitars playing harsh strums, and Taka hitting constant high notes with the lyrics, "Do I matter to you?" The best parts of the chorus is definitely when the "you" part of the lyrics is held longer. It genuinely sounds heavenly and otherworldly, while still having a signature rock feel. The bridge of this song is fun, as we lose all instruments except for small bits of electronics. Then the drums start building up the lyric, "Do you saint, do you sin when you look within?" Taka gets his raspy voice on for a moment on the lyric, "Do you want to believe you matter to me?" as the drums gain a ton of speed, launching the song into the stratosphere once more. This final chorus is a bit extended compared to the others, as it takes elements of the bridge and uses it to cap off the song, adding more and more electronics, really making this song feel like a supernova journey through the worlds. After all the solitary, independent feelings in some of the previous songs, it's really refreshing to hear one that's just about mattering to each other and feeling stronger together. Starting with "Life can be heavy, time can be scary." A simple set of lyrics describing the tiring nature of life itself, and how quickly the world keeps moving. "If love is war, come crash into my vacant arms" is sweet, offering open arms to the idea of love, rejecting senseless violence and instead embracing humanity. "We're supernova racing" adds so much to the power of the sound of this song, because it feels like such a galactic journey of a song, and it's such an uplifting feeling when the words "we" are said in that as well. "Do I matter to you, you matter to me, we all matter." Being repeated throughout the song, again, just gives such a happy, hopeful feeling and vibe to this song. And it's a great song here to have about such optimism amongst people. This section in the second verse, I think is important to mention, as it is saying how we all deal with things that bring us down, and whether or not to share them with others is questionable when so many people have told that same story without a change happening. That thought, wondering if others should be aware of your turmoil, is what I think the song is trying to answer. By saying that we all matter and sharing our feelings is important in a world that's been held in pain and oppression for far too long. Do you saint, do you sin when you look within? Is it faith? Is it hate pulling you back in? Do you want to believe there's a war to win? Seems to ask the question of whether or not you think your inner pain and emotions are meaningful in the overall picture, and whether or not you're going to fight that emotional war. Something I'd want to mention on the song overall is that it sounds like something straight out of their album Eye of the Storm, but it avoids the main problem with that album by having a lot more real instruments being used, which in my opinion is what Eye of the Storm really needed. And you can hear that when they play those songs live. Again, I do really like that album, but it transforms entirely when done live, and I wish the album itself was actually like that. I mentioned that because I don't think Matter would hit very hard without having these real instruments being used, which is how I feel on a few songs on Eye of the Storm. But, moving along with Detox.
Bless them martyrs, kiss them all goodbye.
Dude, I don't even know how to... Curiosity starts off with so much power and aggression. It's heavy, it's brooding, and the drums are going insane. They're so heavy, they're so just strong. This
is this has to be the heaviest song on the album.
And Taka's voice is pitched so differently as it's much deeper with a sharp edginess to it, along with the slight trap beat for this beginning portion.
Time to wake up, there's a war in
And the intro decides to have an intense, snappy breakdown 2 times, and it's done so quickly, so aggressively. So much is poured into this small intro, it is insane.
there's a war inside.
The vocal effects done on Bless the Marauders, Kiss Them All Goodbye, both in skill and digital choices, sound fantastic, really pushing this brutal, edgy tone of this song.
Bless them martyrs, kiss them all goodbye.
And on the second time that this breakdown happens, the guitars join in at the same time as the drums, giving the sense that this song is growing in power more and more. The guitars begin a gnarly riff that glides with the song, as the drums begin picking up tempo too, and Taka again delivering these dark, moody sounding vocals blends together so well. Then, after the lyric, "or we can make our own," Taka finally gives us a true honest-to-God scream, which we have barely heard since the album 35, over 10 years ago. And this scream is right in line with that album, in some ways even better. It's metal, it's his signature high pitch, it's guttural, it's raspy. We've been starved of this for so long, and finally getting it feels magical. The drums following suit with the same breakdown from earlier pushes this to be a really special moment. The wavering vocals on "I'm not afraid, I'm ready for the other side" add some sense of determination to this lyric, which sounds awesome given the meaning of the lyric that has to do with being fearless and strong. We then get another scream from Taka on "Will You Have My Back" as a long note with a ton of rasp in his voice, as the entire song fades.
This then starts the chorus, which is a total headbanger of a chorus, and it was designed to be that. The name of the song, the way it has those little periods in it, they spell that in the chorus. It's a part of the lyrics.
These clever bastards found a way to make this crazy idea work, and they pulled it off so well while still keeping the lyrics sensical with the story. And Taka is again giving that raspy grit in his voice throughout, along with the drums and guitars starting and stopping at fantastic points to emphasize a huge drop.
A genius chorus that is begging to be played live with the audience chanting and screaming wild for it. This is perfect for that.
The second verse hits us with our first featured vocalist on the album, Chico Carlito, a Japanese hip-hop artist. Meaning that yes, we get some rapping on this song now, and it rocks. The speed of his rapping matches the harsh rock excellently. They really give it the same harsh energy of loud, angry drums with wailing guitars. There's also a portion of his lyrics that roughly translates to honesty and intuition, which is seemingly a direct reference to a lyric in One Ok Rock's 2006 EP song Keep It Real, which is a extreme deep cut that I am so happy was put in this song. But the best part here is at the point where the lyrics of Imananji, Katorichi, Niwasarinai, Ano Nitsu no Danshi are beautifully sung by Chico Carlito, and the instrumentals break down.
This is the heaviest and most metal feeling part of this song. It is so goddamn good. And the part right before it also leads straight into it. You have to just listen to it. I can't say anymore. Listen to this part.
Then the sudden pause of the instruments right back into the chorus. The final verse has the second featured vocalist, that being the Japanese rock band Pale Dusk, a relatively new band who's getting a moment like this, which is really cool to see. Kaito, the main singer, is known for his intense screaming skills, and I am so happy we get to hear that in this song. His portion is almost overwhelming with how well he excels, alongside the harsh rock tone keeping pace. He even gets a growl moment, putting metal staples in a One Ok Rock song. The lyric "No More Wasted Nights" is a referential nod to One Ok Rock's 2019 song Wasted Nights. Again, giving these little acknowledgements to their past work is satisfying. We even get a bleh from Kaito. They really went all out here. So much love for rock and metal genres as well as one-ok rock history. As the song starts transitioning back to the final chorus, there's a cool moment where Kaito's vocals and the guitars are in sync, going for the same melody. The ending having them both singing the same lyrics at the same time, closing out the song with one more heavy breakdown. Yeah, we know we just changed your life. See you later. And the lyrics have much to dive into as well, giving us a feeling of fighting alongside one another, and that works here because of the featured artists. Starting with time to wake up, there's a war inside, aggressively saying the time to stand up and fight is now, no more rest, it's go time. We can stay walking on the dotted line, or we can make our own. Visualizing the path that has been laid out for us, as it's the complacent one that is made to be followed, but making your own, rejecting that clear-cut path gives you a sense of freedom. I'm not afraid, I'm ready for the other side, will you have my back? Is a powerful lyric of taking a bold step forward, embracing the potential chaos of rebelling, and having an outreached hand asking, are you joining me, and if so, we are in this together. See everything that you really are, and I hate reality. I feel as though the you is referring to the world, and realizing how terrible it is when you look beyond the path that is laid out for you, in a way never thought of before. Losing touch with that side of reality leads to this feeling of hatred and anger this song is bursting with. The rough English translation of Chico Carlito's beginning portion reads as, 47th step of the stairs, when I climb up, it's my turn. I believe is potentially referring to how many prefectures Japan as a nation has, which is a regional district division that governs that specific area, so maybe it's saying that once all 47 have been reached, the words and feelings of those willing to take a different path can be heard in all regions. Angels and demons on trial. Interestingly saying that no matter how good or bad you may be as a person, you can still end up in an unfortunate place, at the mercy of the higher-ups with more power than you. Kaito's portion has some good stuff too, like, I live for myself and I die as myself. I'll have your back even in the face of danger. Counters itself, proudly saying that death is not a concern as long as I as a person have not changed. But protecting others when times are tough, lives on the line, that death may be alongside these other people, but they are important people that can share that moment. Overall, this song pushing this theme of fighting for what you believe in is powerful, as it gives this feeling of you are not alone. And having that theme alongside the two featured vocalists, as well as this just being the heaviest song on the album, makes it hit that much harder. Something I appreciate about this song as well is that the featured artists both speak in Japanese. While yes, that made this portion of the video very hard to make, I love that they're embracing the Japanese side so much more in this album. And in this song especially, there's so much of it. It feels again like a paying of respect to past one-ok rock traditions. Moving on to the final song.
I'm broken still, but I'm not broken down.
Capping off the album, we have The Pilot. This song starts with a hazy sounding guitar that continues for the first bit of verse 1. It's a sound I've never heard much of before, at least as the main instrumental sound we hear. Taka's voice sounds earnest, sweet, but also introspectively saddened, especially on lyrics like, I cried for help, you didn't notice.
I cry for help. You didn't notice.
The drums make their way in, giving more life, but also feeling like a backing rally with the softer sounding ones at the same time.
You dragged around my innocence. I tried to mend.
Taka's vibrato on I shouldn't have to beg for this is great as well, hearing this vulnerable sort of side.
I shouldn't have to beg for this, no.
The drums give a nice pitter-patter entrance to the first chorus, with the guitars starting to chime in too, playing the same melody as the beginning hazy sound, as Taka yells out his lyrics of feeling broken.
I'm broken still, but I'm not broken down.
I love most how the lyrics of That's How We Grow and Don't Let Me Go mirror each other, being sung the same way, with the same inflections the whole way through, being these long-lasting, hard-hitting, memorable parts of this emotional chorus.
That's how we grow. Don't let me go.
The second verse keeps with the first verse tune, but with the drums already here, and being a bit more active at that.
I'm going home, wherever home is.
Once we go back to the chorus, not only does Taka deliver a killer yell out of safe and sound, but the guitar joining in to be a short, dark, brooding piece gives this lonely and vulnerable song just a twinge of edge that works great.
This second chorus is just so much more than the first two. I feel a comparison is in order for this. It's astounding what a difference these guitars make.
The newly added backing vocals on lyrics like "That's How We Grow" are appreciated as they give the vocals that extra boost as well. We move into the bridge now, which is a nice change of pace, giving this more earnest sound with emotional lyrics that give a sense of reflection, as "Love and Learn" rings out, with the drums stopping and starting to give anticipation. Wherever Home Is
Feels so sad, like the feeling of not knowing where or what to do next is truly felt here. And having that feeling alongside his voice, which feels like it's genuinely breaking down, but in the best way. And this lyric right here being done with so much more emotion than what was heard in the second verse is a great touch.
Wherever home is, I'm feeling low.
Bliss's Ignorance starts slowly bringing in more instrumental energy back, again with Taka giving his all with memorably emotional vocals.
Bliss is ignorance, just a kid.
It all builds up, culminating in a long yell from Taka. Going from these feelings of loneliness to rising up with so much strength gives this uplifting feel.
Fight for myself. I'm broken still.
We get into the last chorus and it hurts more than ever. "If I Break Your Heart" gives us the hazy guitar from earlier, but its riff is cranked up to be a much higher pitch, sounding like a desperate cry, truly emotional feelings that are being ripped out.
If I break your heart, forgive my broken heart.
And my favorite part of the song, the final "Don't Let Me Go," with the newly added backing vocals and choirs, the wailing guitars, the near crack in his voice on the word "let," a beautiful moment that's held out for just long enough.
Don't let me
The lyrics from the bridge return to lead the song out, with the drums keeping a good pace and rhythm with it, until all that's left is the drums, until they too cease after "Love and Learn."
after we love and learn.
This is a deep song with a lot of personal emotions attached to it, and starting with 15 and Crazy, No One to Save Me, giving this sense of loneliness off the bat, again with the mention of a young age makes it sting more. "You were the pilot when my world came crashing down."
The namesake appearing here shows importance, as if to say that whoever had been driving my life for this whole time has left me hurtling towards a dark place that I still haven't fully crawled myself out of.
I cried for help, you didn't notice, I taste the salt from my tears burn in my mouth.
All gives into this feeling of being truly alone with nothing to taste except for tears, which is similar to water, yes, but water comes about as a source of life. Tears come around when your life is at its lowest moments, which gives it that bitter taste.
"You dragged around my innocence" is saying that after the emotional damage received, my youth, my nostalgia, it feels tainted and won't be the same anymore. Into the chorus, "I'm broken still, but I'm not broken down, that's how we grow," is acknowledgement that, yeah, I have not recovered from that dark hole I was left in, but I still hold on to hope knowing that the road to recovery is done through endurance and being put to the test. "If I break your heart, forgive my broken heart" is interesting, saying again that, yeah, I am hurting and I may be a bother to deal with in those times, but please forgive me as this healing process is something we can share. "Don't Let Me Go"
is one of my favorite lyrics here. So simple yet so effective. After expressing these broken emotions, these feelings that have been internalized for so long, pleading to not be forgotten or let go of, as whoever is being spoken to may be one of the last remnants of happiness left, it hurts.
The second verse starts with "I'm going home, wherever home is also painfully painting the picture of a lack of a safe place, but still choosing to go somewhere is the inspiring part, to keep moving forward. "Within myself, I've come to find my safe and sound." depicts finding solace within, being comfortable having nobody around, perhaps answering the lyrics about home. Maybe the person within is home enough to somebody who's running out. Love and learn, broken's beautiful.
Love people, make those experiences and mistakes, and learn from it even if and when it hurts.
That pain can be beautiful because you became a better person by going through it. I'm feeling low, but not at my lowest. Another fantastic line saying, yeah, this is miserable. I'm not in the best position right now and haven't been for a long time. But right here and now, this is not my lowest moment, and whether or not that lowest moment has happened in the past or will happen in the future is not of concern. You didn't fight for me, so I will fight for myself.
Feels like propping yourself up. It's like it's saying that even though no one really cared for me when I wasn't feeling okay, I know my self-worth and I know how to keep fighting. What a fantastic song. Yes, it is about being broken and misery that is felt when you are lonely, but being able to look past that and say, I've got my own back, is heartwarming.
It feels so heartful, soulful, all about a child who ran away from home, not knowing what will happen to him in a horrifying world, and the internal emotions that stick by you forever with that.
It's a climactic song that has a lot of emotional musical flourishes too. Definitely a highlight of the album.
And that is Detox, an album about feeling held down, locked in, lonely, angry, upset, that we as humans aren't treated equally by the fake smiling faces that have so much power over us than they let on, leaving us with scraps and solidation in our circumstances. But it's also an album about feeling stronger together, bonding with those who feel this same misery and finding solace in that, realizing that being complacent isn't going to do much, and standing up for beliefs is a powerful tool. We have each other's backs, and sometimes that's enough.
We can take a step back and look at beautiful memories of people who did unimaginable good things for us, and then take a step forward and be even better people. It's hard. It's always hard, but that spirit and tenacity to keep pushing forward is what makes us human, and I think that is what the album is about.
This album brings so much life and energy back into One Ok Rock in a fresh way that genuinely emotionally moves me when I listen to it.
There are so many genres at play here while still being a concise story, with memorable parts that are new discography staples for One Ok Rock that I'll be listening to for years to come. And for those of you guys who are going to be going to their Singapore concert on March 8th, 2026, I will see you there. With that being said, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.